This is a story of espionage, intrigue, mysteries science can't yet explain, heroism in the face of great evil, and ultimately the exploitation and rejection of an entire species. But first,
I told this story last week.
What-
On Italy.
Yeah.
what is the biggest bird of all time?
The biggest bird. Deandra Reynolds.
Of all times, extinct probably. Like I think there was like ginormous like chicken things. I mean I don't know how the limit of megafauna was in Australia, but then I guess like dinosaurs evolved from like birds and stuff, right? So you got to imagine like there were some pretty big birds out there, like pterodactyls. Not pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls.
Pterodactyls count as birds, do they not?
I don't think so.
Winged creature. I don't know.
There's
What's
ones that
the
are, like,
answer? I won't
feathered.
know.
The answer is...
Wait. Let's guess in like terms, because I won't be able to guess the animal, but let's guess how big.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm gonna guess like the
school
size.
bus.
Like in weight, are you going to guess?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. In weight.
3
'Cause
tons.
it might be like the size of like a school bus, but I actually don't think it would be that heavy because it's like a bird. They're quite light on their feet and everything. I'm gonna say it weighs as much as an elephant.
What's the answer?
Okay, the answer is Big Bird, otherwise known as the KH-9 hexagon spy satellite, which is one of 19 in its flock who terrorized the Soviets from 1971 to 1984.
Wait. Is this a mechanical bird?
This is a satellite known as Big Bird.
Okay. I was going to say all birds are mechanical. They're all government spies. Wait, this
it
satellite,
weighed
that's not a bird.
And it weighed 11,400 kilograms at launch.
Hello and welcome to Wildest Sport, the podcast where 3 friends sit down, crack a couple beers, and go on a journey to try and find the wildest story from the world of sport. My name is James Wybrow.
I'm James's brother Ben, no relation.
Cartman Sheaves, reporting for duty.
And we try and do this scientifically sometimes. Sounds like this story might be more scientific than ever. If you're just listening to this, we also offer a YouTube option if that is to your liking. And you can see Ben wearing... Do they count as glasses if they don't have a lens in them?
Yeah, I've taken the lenses out of them, but it's just more for the look of sophistication and intelligence for the topic we'll be talking about today.
He does look very smart and suave.
It does make you look clever. So I think the little sweater too. Yeah.
Yeah, I chose it specifically.
That outfit would look really well. And so would yours, Carlin. And I think mine's fine. Like footy shorts and a t-shirt. They all go well at TAMF.
There is no dress code at TAMF.
No. There's
I mean-
only one rule. You have fun.
Yeah.
And you pay and you don't get into any fights.
And you have shoes and a shirt on.
Yeah,
Even
I was
then,
thinking
even
like, what
then.
are the limits of the thing? You could probably show up in an hoodie. You'd get some weird looks.
And you probably have to have pants on.
Yeah, I think there's a general.
legal
cover your-
drinking age to buy alcohol as well. They're big on like doing that one.
Yeah, that's so suspicious that you bring it up.
Okay,
Yeah,
Shout out to
move
them.
on, quick.
let's
Before we
move on.
cancel
Thank you,
TAMF.
Tam, for everything that you do, not just for us, but for all of your patrons.
And of
Okay.
course, you listener, thank you for everything you do for us. Like, subscribe, follow, 5 stars, tell your friends, tell your family, don't tell your doctors. We did that last week. Moving
Tell your
on.
bartender.
Oh, tell your
Tell
barber.
someone at TAMF. Wait, no, go to TAMF and
They know about it already.
You got to meet one stranger, and tell them.
Next first date you're on. What podcast do you listen to? That sounds like a first date-ish sort of question. Seems more interesting. What's your favorite color?
I feel like that's like a red flag first date like answer. Like if
Well,
if
listening
you didn't
to this
ask the
podcast?
question, no, if you didn't ask the question and then the guy starts being like, yeah, I listen to Wild World of Sport podcast. They tell wild sports stories.
Oh, they talk about crazy sports.
They talk about crazy sports
All right,
stories.
Ben wants to get into this.
He's
Let's-
waiting so
let's go.
patiently and cleverly, astutely.
Well, today we're going to be talking about the humble pigeon.
I don't like birds. I just want to put that out there. Birds,
Pigeons?
like,
Did we not?
they scare me.
I feel like we discussed this like the other day. Maybe it wasn't even on the podcast, but maybe at the attempt for two of my friends.
I did bring it up a few weeks ago, being the animal I feel the worst for are pigeons.
I think it was at the footy, maybe.
Yeah, it could have been. I feel bad for pigeons.
Yeah, they do get hard done by, but they've got a lot of achievements to be proud of.
Yeah, so then we just abandon them.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to get to the story.
It's a pigeon eat pigeon world.
So pigeons
Don't eat
weigh
pigeon, PSA.
approximately 250 grams, and their length is 25 to 40
What
centimeters
do they taste like?
from beak to tail. I imagine similar to any other birds, duck, chicken.
Why are we not trying this? No one's eating a pigeon.
They're
It's
literally
too much
a rat
respect.
with wings. Why aren't we eating rats?
Some people do eat rats.
Yeah, it's great.
What do you think KFC's made of, James?
Yeah, rat meat. You're
Rat
right.
meat. Okay. Pigeons are intelligent, and they have shown great courage. They also can fly up to 1,200 kilometers in a day.
Were you hired by Big Pigeon to
Yeah.
do this story?
We'll find out.
Big pigeon needs it. They're falling behind these days.
And if they're trained properly, they can take advantage of their excellent ability to home to their loft, like a homing missile, but a pigeon.
You're the scientific person here, Ben. Like, my understanding is that they don't fully understand how they can do that.
That is something.
It just happened.
That is something we'll get into.
Like when you wake up
Well, literally.
after a big night drinking, you're like, oh, my keys, my wallet, my phone are here. I don't know how that happened, but I'm glad they're
You know
here.
that meme format where it's like the big three
Oh,
made
yeah.
at home, and it's like wallet, yeah, keys, yeah, and then it's a random
Yeah.
thing. It'd be
Homing pigeon. Yeah.
Okay, so do you know how to train a homing pigeon?
Of course.
Okay. Would you like me to explain it with more accuracy?
Please, for the listeners,
Well,
and the viewer.
Sure, I guess. I'd like to explain it myself, but I'll let you take the floor,
Okay,
please, Ben.
so step one is hatch your pigeon in its loft
Is that right, Colin?
Checks out so far.
Okay.
and keep it there for 1 month and don't let it out.
I disagree on this method. You can play with it and go on little walks sometimes, twice a week. That's enough.
Well, you are the expert.
It's got
here.
little legs.
So
It can't fly away. It's not a bird.
step two, you teach it how to use the loft trap, which is a one-way door to get into the loft and not out of it. Think of like a rat trap, one of those keep it alive kind of traps. Step three, through step 1 and 2, you should have been doing consistent feeding at specific times of the day.
I'm sorry, if this is how the instructions are written down, that's awful. Step 1, look after it for a month. All right, well, I don't need to read step 2 yet until I've got, okay, I'll train the door. That's only a month in, whatever. Okay, now that this whole month you should have been doing this. Well, this
like
should
reading
have
a
been
recipe.
ahead. This should have
Well,
been ahead.
I'm just thinking,
Step 1A, step 1B.
you're building an IKEA table. Do you not read through all the instructions, or you do your Lego? You don't read through every single instruction before you start it?
No,
You don't read the
what?
warranty and all the paperwork with everything you
Course
buy?
not. Of course
I do,
not.
but it's because I don't trust my instruction giver like this.
Yeah.
Okay, well, part of step 3 is then, over the course of
Getting a new pigeon
weeks
because
and
you've
months,
already messed it up.
take your pigeon a few hundred meters from its loft and let it fly back home for its meal time.
So you
it's gonna
were
be
right,
motivated
Carlin.
by-
You were saying that you disagree with what Ben was saying and you need to
You
take
go
it
take
out.
it for little
Yeah.
walks.
Step 4, increase that distance over the next few months to a distance of up to 100 kilometers. Step 5, hope your pigeon doesn't get lost.
That's all you can do, you hope.
Yep, that's all you can really do.
Do you have, like, you're the scientist here, do you have statistics on this? Like, what's the accuracy, return rate of
Of
most pigeons?
pigeons?
You're training them. How often do you lose one?
That is a very interesting question that we will get to later.
Okay, all right. I'll hold my horses
It's sort
and
of
my pigeons.
Sounds like, I don't know, like parenting. Like, all right, you got to raise them, do all this stuff, and then you send them to school and hope they can make friends. Like, it's out of your control now. They might not. Yeah, you did what you could.
Jeez, Colin, I don't know how you wear glasses with the headphones. It's so, like, pushing on your head, the, like, limbs or the arms of the glasses.
Some people built different.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm not
Yeah.
built well enough.
I went through
No,
rigorous.
your eyes are built too well.
I went through rigorous training, locked in a loft. I had to find my way over 100 kilometers back for my dinner time, wearing the glasses and headphones. So I had training.
So the thing to note about homing pigeons is that they have one specific home location, their loft, and that cannot be changed. They are locked in on that one target, and that's where they will
So
live.
it's like set spawn point in Minecraft.
Yeah, it pretty much.
Like you sleep in the bed and it's like, all right, that's set now.
Yep.
Can you reset it like to a different spot?
Not No, not really.
Isn't
Okay.
that like possums as well? Like if you take a possum too far, it'll just die.
Yeah, across water, they
Yeah.
really struggle. There's the really best pigeons you then can condition over a long period of time, but you have to then move them so far away they're nowhere near their original environment.
So they don't even get a whiff and go, oh, I know it's over there somewhere. And then they just...
Yeah, so there's an international pigeon racing tournament in Thailand where they bring in birds from all across the world, but then they stay there and get put in a new loft and trained for ages. And a bunch of the pigeons get lost in the training because they're not familiar with the
Sounds
environment.
like if you're someone that's
So sad.
like enjoys this sport enough and has enough money to travel over to Thailand and do it, why wouldn't you just like be based in Thailand so then you don't have to go through training the pigeons again? That seems like it'd give you a much bigger advantage if that's where the tournament's held. Like home ground advantage would be huge for those pigeons.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
I guess
theory.
I'll get into the types of pigeon racing. But our next topic is what I like to call the bird topic.
the bird is the word.
The
Well,
biological,
everybody's heard about the bird.
Quickly, segue.
the bird, which is an acronym, stands for Biological Intelligence Reconnaissance Device.
No, it doesn't.
So the CIA used homing pigeons in the Cold War to gather intelligence behind enemy lines. In the 1970s, there was an operation called Operation Takana, which some of the files were released in 2019, with the majority remaining classified. The CIA enlisted the use of pigeons to work as spy drones. They would have miniature battery-operated cameras attached to them with a harness, which would automatically and periodically take photos.
What years is this? Is like the 70s?
70s.
This is so the 70s.
See, I've seen a thing on this. Like, I think it's like the CIA Instagram page, and they were like, they post like a fun fact of the day thing. And it's like fun fact of the day. It was like some anniversary of like a thing. It's like, oh, we don't control all the birds, but we used to have pigeon like drones. Like they say in that post too, they discontinued it because like it sort of proved ineffective. Like they couldn't really get the pigeon to fly like exactly over where they wanted to fly to get the photos and stuff. Like you could a drone, it'd be a lot easier. But it's like the CIA wouldn't tell us if it was working, so
Yeah.
I don't believe them. I think the pigeons.
Do we
are
need to get the
working just
tinfoil
fine.
hats back out?
They were given their home base and then carried by operatives behind enemy lines and released within the Soviet Union. And these cameras could take up to 140 pictures. In test runs, they had about a 50-50 rate of being useful, and the quality of the photographs were similar or better to the satellite pictures or recon planes due to their pigeons' low altitude. The main issue came with how do you covertly release a bunch of pigeons behind enemy lines in a foreign country? Any ideas?
They don't already have pigeons.
No, but how do you release them? You've carried this pigeon. How do you then release it into the public without anyone noticing?
Do a magician show, like, and then be like, oh, it's like Now You See Me, like, you know,
They
that'd be
release the doves. Oh, wait, I thought this was a dove, not a pigeon. But then you bring a dove, so you're like, oh, wrong one. And then it's like, whoa, everyone's forgot about the pigeon because they're looking at the real dove that you pulled
You
out.
see the
Yeah.
red dot light coming from like a harness on a pigeon. So they were very tactical. They would release them from trench coats. Just open the coat and the bird would fly out.
Yeah, sounds about
They
right.
also had special panels.
Imagine being like, little kid, Mommy, a bird just flew out of that man's trench coat. Don't be silly, drink your vodka, Russian girl.
Your English is very good. Other ones they did parked cars. They would remove the bottom panel of the car and drop the pigeons out. They'd walk on the street and then fly up. And also just throw them out of car windows.
what's he do?
We don't
by.
know precisely how many pigeons were used by the CIA or what the photos were taken of. We only have the test photos and that because the rest of the information is still classified.
Makes sense.
But we do know that reconnaissance found the Russians or the Soviets' main submarine building docks. So
They dox the docks?
they did dox the docks. But pigeons...
Is that where doxing came from? Because they found the docks first. And they're like, oh, we found their secret base. It's the docks.
I feel like I should. This is like one of those like trivia questions I should know the answer to because it's
Yeah.
like technically an IT question. I'm like, I don't know.
Well,
people expect me to know.
Speaking of trivia questions, the topic of pigeon racing came from a suggestion from the trivia master at my weekly trivia.
Shout out, John.
Yeah, John, shout out.
There's going to be 4 clues hidden in this episode. Wink.
Just like the Sydney suburb. So pigeons weren't just used in the 70s. Pigeons have been used for thousands of years. So go back to ancient Egypt, 2600 BC. They were released from arriving boats to announce the arrival of important dignitaries or personnel. They'd release the pigeon with a note. Beforehand, the pigeon would fly to land, notify who was coming on the ship so they could get the proper treatment when they arrived. Fast forward to the Akkadian Empire, 2350 BC. King Sargon of Akkad mandated that all of his messengers carried pigeons in case of capture, that then would alert the city that they had been captured.
Imagine like the pigeon's the suicide pill. It's like, all right, release the pigeon, it'll peck you to death. Like so that you don't
Just
spill
pull
the
off like the
secrets.
fake tooth and get your cyanide capsule. And
Yeah, a pigeon flies out.
there was someone at like a war crime trial that got the guilty verdict pulled out and like drank poison.
What
and went
the
like, I
hell?
don't regret anything. It was a few years ago. I remember seeing a video of it in like history class.
That's cooked.
I'm imagining George Bush reading a kid's book, and a pigeon flies down. He takes off the note. And he reads the note from the pigeon. What?
And then a second pigeon comes in. So from 400 AD to 1520 AD, pigeons were used as the mail service until 1837 when the advent of the telegraph came in. It was then faster than pigeons and more reliable. In World War I, pigeons were more
So
reliable.
that just seems like a stupid Family Guy cutaway. It's like, oh, this is worse than the telegram was for the pigeon. And there's a pigeon walking. It's like, how was your day, honey? It's that stupid telegram. Like, I'm not getting any business anymore.
In World War I, pigeons were more reliable than the telegraph, because telegraph poles were prime military targets.
I'm saying the second Family Guy cutaway in the same episode. It's like, oh, this is a better outcome than what World War I was for pigeons. Honey, you'll never believe it. We're back. See, it's not funny the first time you do it, but the second time,
callback.
yeah.
In World War II, the British forces used over 200,000 pigeons. They also culled birds of prey to ensure the pigeons had safe passage when returning home. Thousands of pigeons were dropped over occupied Europe with questionnaires detailing or requesting the location of supplies, radar towers and things for the people in Germany or in occupied Europe to then go, yes, I will fill out this questionnaire of where the supplies are, put it back on the pigeon and the pigeon will fly home.
So we genocided on behalf of the pigeons just for our own personal gain to get the pigeons to do what we wanted.
Well, I did think of a joke when I was writing this, and it's, since they work for the CIA, there's a reason why pigeons go, coo, coo.
Oh, excellent.
32 pigeons have received the Dickon Medal. Do you know what the Dickon Medal is?
For mail service.
No. It is the highest military honour that an animal can receive. It's the animal equivalent of the Victorian Cross.
In Australia.
Yeah, or in
Purple Heart.
Commonwealth, yeah.
same, yeah.
So, what's it named after? What's the animal? Like, is Dickon a famous animal that received it first?
The first animal to receive it was a pigeon.
Wow.
And there have currently been, end of 2023, there have been 75 recipients. 32 of them have been pigeons. They are the seven most dogs outrank the pigeons.
Yeah, I was going to
But
Does Simpson's donkey get one?
only 4 horses have them. I don't know if the donkey's included in those horses. I was just looking up the stats.
Also, is this an American? Oh, no,
this is a British.
Simpson's donkey should have one of these.
I didn't look up if he does. But
Carlin, you're
at the end of World War II, 53 of these medals were awarded, and 32 of them were pigeons. So the majority were for pigeons. Some notable birds include Winkle, a member of the Royal Air Force. He was the first animal to receive the medal for gallantry flying 120 miles covered in oil to alert home base of the location of a downed aircraft floating in the North Sea. So there's pigeon on the plane. They get downed and they release the pigeon. And that pigeon flew covered in oil and saved
The
those men.
message was the pigeon gets like covered in oil. Like, oh, that can't be good.
But it helped.
Wait, no, they sent it to the USA, and the USA oil.
Yeah.
Great, let's go
It
there.
helped them locate, and it saved the lives of that crew.
Where's this Pigeons movie?
Another pigeon is G.I. Joe, who was the 23rd recipient and the first non-British animal.
Wow, they didn't have non-British animals.
GIO saved the lives of potentially thousands of civilians
GIO
as
Stadium.
G.I. Joe
mention.
and members of the British military after an airstrike was called on a village. After the airstrike was called in,
Was the airstrike like pigeons attacking it?
no, so the Germans took control of a village, and then the British forces retook control, but after a request for an airstrike on the village had happened. So the British had taken
And
back the
pigeon
village,
Took too long.
and they went, we need to cancel this airstrike.
So
they sent...
This is the plot for what's it, 1918 or whatever. Do you know?
I haven't
I haven't
seen it.
seen it.
I know it's done like one shot and it's really good and all that, but I was
mean,
put
like,
off after being bored watching Dunkirk.
Oh, it's good. It's a good movie. Dunkirk was a great movie though. I actually quite enjoyed Dunkirk.
I thought Dunkirk was boring.
But no, like in 1918, like yeah, like he like they find out it's like, oh, you can't like do this attack anymore, and so like, but then it's like, but they're gonna do the attack, and so like the whole thing is him running to like go stop them from like deliver the message to stop them from doing this deadly
Should have
attack.
used a pigeon.
Yeah,
So
I think there's a reason why they couldn't use a pigeon.
G.I. Joe made it back and called off the airstrike. So he was awarded for gallantly flying to deliver that message. Third one is Commando, who flew over 90 missions during World War II. He was carried by English paratroopers out of the planes that dropped behind enemy lines, holding him, put important information they'd found on the ground, and then send him home. He was in occupied France. His missions, he had 3 very notable ones that were very important for getting the paratroopers, getting supplies, disrupting things, helped in the war. And by the end of the Second World War, they were designated marksmen to try shoot down the carrier pigeons because both sides were using the pigeons. So you had the military bringing in birds of prey.
How do you know if it
And
was your
marksmen.
pigeon or a
Yeah,
pigeon you should
that's
shoot
what I was
down?
just thinking.
Well, you'd see which direction they're flying.
But they could be flying
Yeah.
there.
But when you're on the front lines, that's
Yeah.
when you're going, oh, bang, there's a pigeon flying over us. That's gone to whichever direction it's going.
And then you
So
shoot
all
the
the-
wrong one. Oops.
Yeah.
Well, I've got the message now at least.
And now we can send another pigeon back even further.
And then it gets shot down on the other side. Like, aha.
So to get back into the world of sport, how does pigeon racing work? That's a question you've all been asking, as well as how old they live for, 15 to 18 years.
Okay.
Races range from 100-kilometer sprints up to the maximum,
100 kilometers is a sprint.
and the
Holy.
maximum distance is 1,200 kilometers. Up to 20,000 pigeons can compete in the same race.
How many?
20,000.
That's a lot of
Is the
bloody
limit.
pigeons.
That's
It is a lot of pigeons.
Imagine the like. What's the start line like? How much pigeon shit is there?
Well, so for smaller events, what they do is they just get a trailer with a bunch of little boxes on the side, and then they open the trailer at the same time, and all the pigeons go.
Yeah.
And I imagine like you're allowed to have like say 100, 500 pigeons or something. So it's like, oh, okay, my team's going to release.
Well, you can have a
500
team of pigeons, but it's usually not too many on a team because you're working with maybe half dozen at a time for like the best people. There was an Australian who's in 2022 sent 2 pigeons over to compete in the Thailand like international championships.
And
He
they
didn't-
got lost. They're the ones that got
Yeah,
lost.
not very
Oh.
notable at all.
Do you
But-
talk about Bill Lorry and his pigeon?
I do not talk about him in this story.
How? What do you mean?
Well, Mike Tyson. Tyson loved pigeons too.
Yeah, I saw a bit of his cartoon, and there's like a pigeon in it, and I don't understand any of that.
By Norm Macdonald, the comedian, plays him, I think.
There you go, the pigeon.
Yeah, he's the voice of the pigeon. Bill Lorry
he's got
famously loved pigeons and pigeon racing. He loved them. Everything I looked up where people talking about it said they're amazing. Like the greatest thing anyone could do is be a pigeon fancier.
I mean, it's not the sort of thing like
I
there's
fancy
the
pigeons.
meme of like, oh, the dad that doesn't want the dog, and then the dad with the dog. Like you can get a dog without really wanting a dog, and it'd be fine. You're not going to get a pigeon unless you already want to get a pigeon.
Especially
I'd
like
rather
a bunch
have a
of
pigeon
pigeons.
than like raise like chickens in my backyard. And chickens, like they give me eggs. That's pretty good. That's a good trade off for like taking care of the chickens.
I'd rather have chickens, but someone else has to look after them. Like I said at the top, I'm scared of birds. I don't like it. It's a phobia of mine. I'm man enough to admit it. Magpies,
The pigeon
Hate
could
'em.
be your best friend.
it could be, but it's not going to find out. Sorry.
What you might
Prejudiced,
be
I'm prejudiced.
surprised to hear, as in these races, the birds aren't tracked with GPS because the trackers are too heavy. So the owners go, it's not worth having the tracker on it to slow my bird down.
Where is it? Oh, last.
And if I lose
Great.
it, I lose it. So what they do have is they put little ring trackers on them with a little individual barcode. And then when they make it home, you scan the barcode and it uploads their time. So every pigeon has its own home loft. So you think Carlin has his own loft, James, you have your own, and I have my own.
I'm
And we
renting
compete-
my loft, unfortunately.
We compete in the Canberra local pigeon racing competition. And let's say it's at Stromlo. Go, oh, James is actually 4 kilometers closer than Carlin's loft and mine's 20 kilometers further away from both of you guys. How is that a fair race? The race is done by average meters per minute. So the top velocity of
Right.
your bird.
So what's the unladed velocity of a African pigeon?
So when you register your pigeon, your home loft's distance is calculated to the nearest yard or meter. When the bird arrives home, its tag is scanned or placed into a separate timing clock to record its final time. Within minutes, that's uploaded to the overall tracking site so you can see where your bird placed. Winners in this style of event can be determined by weather and wind patterns.
Whether or not they win. Yeah.
And when it's too hot, it's believed that the pigeons stop in bodies of water for a drink and a rest. But there's no way to confirm it because they don't track the pigeons. So
Surely now they can have a drone flying above it, like filming the race. Like, surely the Ocho channel's got this with like 20 different angles, and it's like the Tour de France where you have the top pigeons at the front, and then you go back to the peloton. And then there's like, oh, there's a pigeon crash. Ah!
Just give it a vaccine and, put a tracking chip in it that way.
well, most of the sources here come from like 2019 because that's when pigeon racing was still really big in Europe, and that's just when China started getting into the pigeon racing scene.
Well, you couldn't use this in a university paper, it's not within 5 years, it's not relevant anymore, or some crap that they're trying to say.
So there's a second type of racing, which is called one loft racing. Pretty self-explanatory. When the pigeon is hatched,
I'd like you to explain it.
of course, when the pigeon is hatched, it then is taken to the collective lot. So we have the Canberra lot. Imagine it's like stables for horses. Everyone just keeps their horse in this stable. And then you go visit that pigeon in that loft, and its whole time, for that first month, it's living in that loft, and then you train it from that loft. So it's like the club. You go to TAMF, and you all go there to drink your beers, and then you keep coming back. You keep coming back. This is more even, because then you're always the same distance no matter where you go with these birds.
So it's the pigeons local.
Yeah. So this is more of a smaller club, regional type of racing where you don't need your own home loft and all the things to do. Usually the home lofts are for breeders of the pigeons, where the enthusiast can just join their local pigeon racing club and have their bird get its space and join the races.
Like, you're not a member at a golf club, but you can still go play, but if you're a real diehard, you'll be a member there, so you can just go whenever you want and just keep playing.
Yep. So this allows for identical distance and weather conditions, and it's the most even playing field possible. But we're going to be talking about one pigeon in particular. Want to guess the name?
Well, you had G.I. Joe.
Yeah, Pigwidgeon?
No.
Pigeon. What's a funny pigeon name? What would I name my pigeon if I had
I
a
would just do
racing
something
pigeon?
with silly with alliteration, like Percy Pigeon.
Percy Pigeon.
Okay, his name was BE14-300-4610.
I would have got there. Is this
But
like
This
his
is the
nickname-
giant metal sky pigeon.
Is this the same as horse racing, where like once a name's done, no one else can take it? And since there's 20,000 in a race, like all the names are gone.
To his owner, he was known as Armando.
Armando, that's a pigeon
Yeah,
name. That
that's a good
pigeon's
pigeon name.
strutting.
So you know how books have the title and then a subtitle,
Books.
or you've got a TV show and then there's the episode title.
Mm-hmm.
Armando's subheading is the Lewis Hamilton of pigeons. Armando, the Lewis Hamilton of pigeons, is his full title. Armando is the best long-distance racing pigeon ever. In Belgium, as a Belgian pigeon. So
I don't know if I
Ever
would
in
have
Belgium. This
ever
is like-
guessed Belgium. Not because I don't know. I don't know what country I would have picked first to have bred the best racing pigeon. Belgium was not even on my radar of countries that I'd be saying.
It's like the USA being like, you win the USA thing, you're world champions. Like, you
Yeah.
win the Belgium thing, you're world champions.
Yeah.
Champions of Belgium, champions of the world.
Champions of Belgium. You'll never sing that.
So Armando was a famed Belgian pigeon for his dominance in long-distance races. He completed 11 races in his 4-year career, all of distances of 436 kilometres up to 651 kilometres.
Isn't that middle distance? Because didn't you say the longest was 1,200?
That's the longest possible distance.
Right.
For
Oh,
them.
okay. It's
See-
like saying, they're a long distance runner and they run marathons, but there's ultra marathons, but that's like a
marathon runners.
whole nother thing. Okay.
Yep, so this is considered long distance for pigeoning.
He was much more well known for his dashing good looks.
So
Uh-huh.
I'll go through just quickly a list of his results. In 2015, he placed 94th out of 1,952 pigeons. In his second race, he finished 18th out of 1,306 pigeons. He finished 48 out of 4,167 pigeons. Then 12th out of 6,720, followed by his worst result, 206th out of 3,927, then 108th out of 14,937.
This is all like 10th percentile.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, pretty good to have your worst result still, yeah.
Yeah.
Top, it'd be even be top, like, 5%.
I think, yeah, just doing the quick math, it's probably wrong just because I'm hearing these numbers. That didn't even sound like that was his worst placing overall, but percentage wise of the top performances, like he was still within the 10%. Some of them sounded like he was closer to 10 than he was to 0.
He's never been below the top 5%.
all of Armando's races are the ones where they average it, right?
Yes, because they're from
lofts.
different lofts. Then
He's a system pigeon.
he came 48th out of 4,100, 30th out of 15,700, 10th out of 9,100,
10th.
and then his titles. Second in the Belgium National Championships out of 9,102.
Do you have the pigeon that won? Do you have their name?
Well, the
Let's
way they do the
immortalise them.
racing is it's across the... I'll get to that after, but I'll just give his titles. He then came second again the following year at the same race out of 7,274 pigeons, and this is the ones that finish. So a bunch of them don't finish as well.
He's Armando because he's armed, like he has an arsenal. Comes second every time.
Well, he's
bottles it.
BE 14 300 4,610.
Does that spell bottle or something?
I
I can't spell.
Then his first win in 2018 out of 4,564 pigeons. In 2017, he was ranked third in long-distance pigeon racings in the old bird category.
Old bird. It's like playing Masters.
Yeah.
Over a few years old. So what they do is have your racing coefficient. So what they do is they take your finished position.
This is how many get into the Pigeon Champions League. You gotta have your coefficient has to be high enough.
What's
So-
your X? What would it not? Wouldn't be XG. XF, your expected finishes, because some of them don't finish at
So
all.
what they do is go, they get your
XM,
score.
Expected minutes.
So
Or like flaps per minute.
Oh,
Your
yeah.
FPM.
Expected parcels per delivery.
they take the finishing position and divide it by the total number of finishing pigeons
Yep.
to get that number. And he came third in 2017. In 2019, he won the Olympic Ace Long Distance Cat C KBDB Ponzan 2019 title. And in 2018,
Well, we knew that one already. That's like common knowledge, that race. That's not everyone marks that one on their calendar.
and his crowning achievement is in the National Ace Long Distance Old Birds KBDB 2018. He had the lowest coefficient percentage ever recorded at 0.2396%.
So did they change his name to BE263, whatever it was?
No, he was retired. But that 29,
It's like Lightning McQueen, you know? He's like doing it all, and then he can't keep up with the newer birds.
Yeah.
so he retired.
Jackson Pigeons. Just...
And his owner was told in 2018 to retire him and put him in for breeding, move him to a breeding loft so then you could keep his good genetics. But he said, I don't mind risking losing him. I've got 5 or 6 other birds that I could race with. I want him to get his title. And he did. But after he retired, after his 11 races, he was put up for auction.
Auction.
Yes. And he was labeled as
a racing pigeon or as a breeding
as a
pigeon?
breeding pigeon now.
Could you imagine that if like human athletes, once they'd finish their careers, it's like, all right, now you're going to go be a breeder.
The Olympic Village is notorious for,
Yeah.
having to provide condoms and whatnot for the athletes.
The cardboard beds to stop shenanigans.
In a sense, it's not far off reality.
So there was a 2-week auction. And he was finally sold after a massive bidding war for 1.25 million euros.
Wow.
Would you care to guess the average sale price for a pedigree racing pigeon?
Yeah.
4,000.
Pedigree racing pigeon, you're be paying 50 to 100k euros.
Okay, James, what was your guess?
4,000.
You're a lot closer, James. The average pedigree racing pigeon costs 2,500.
Damn.
So Armando cost 500 times more than the average pigeon, racing pigeon.
Wow.
In comparison, to go to football, your wheelhouse,
He's
Carlin,
like the Neymar.
Neymar Jr.'s transfer to Paris Saint-Germain for 222 million euros is only 133 times the average professional footballer's transfer fee. So this data comes from footballers who then have their full-time profession as football and the transfer fees of all athletes. Average to about $2 million US. And with that exchange rate and change, it's only 133 times. So Armando is 3 times crazier transfer than Neymar to PSG.
All right.
The equivalent would need to be Neymar
all my
for
homies
$1 billion.
Wow. Fabrizio Romano.
Yeah,
He's
here
out
we
there.
go.
Be like, here we go. 1 point whatever million for Armando.
So Armando at the time was the most expensive racing pigeon ever.
What do you mean at the time?
He more than tripled the highest sell price previously. The previous highest sell price was 400,000 euros.
Okay, but at the time makes it sound like a pigeon's beaten
A new
him.
one has beaten him by like 150,000.
So
wow.
it is like football. It's just started a whole ridiculous
Well,
trend.
it just goes on
It,
and on and
it
on.
reminded me of the Eddie Hall breaking the 500 deadlift barrier, and the people have beaten it again, but he went up by such a distance that that's the achievement.
Yeah, I get that. Like, because if you do something once, it's like, oh, well, it's doable now. It can be done. Like the first person that climbed Everest. Now a lot of people do it.
China is now the biggest market for pigeon racing. So China doesn't have many casinos, but the Chinese people love to gamble. And what's better to gamble on than pigeon racing? So there are many events that have multi-million-dollar prizes in China for pigeon racing.
Multi-million.
But I can hear what you're saying. I can hear your question. This is all great, but how do pigeons actually home? As Carlin did ask.
That I've been waiting for you to
Yes.
answer that question. You were the science man. Where'd your glasses
forgot
go?
that.
I will put the glasses back on.
Yeah, because I actually, if you said that without the glasses, I wouldn't trust your opinion.
It's got to make sure it doesn't hurt with the headphones.
Yeah, it's annoying as anything. Jeez.
Do you know what hurts? It's your big brain
Well, I did.
rupturing out of your skull.
It hurts when mine rattles around and it's hitting all the edges.
Yeah.
Too small.
So I'll go through kind of the thinking, because this has been a question that scientists have been trying to figure out for decades. So the first theory, or one of the first hypotheses, was that pigeons have a solar compass. So they use that solar compass as with their internal body clock to know when the sun would be up and where it is in the sky. And they know the position that the sun appears while they're in their home loft. They know, oh, if I'm looking out the front, it's to my left about 40 degrees. And then at the end of the day, it'll be over here to help give them the right direction. So the researchers decided,
Only let the pigeons out at night.
well, they decided that they'd get
You
their
forgot about the moon.
group of pigeons, they'd split them in half, and then lock half of them in dark rooms with no natural light. And
I
then,
thought they did this with humans, and like it's unethical to do that.
like the
sort of
standard
but they
thing.
provided
experiment.
artificial light to simulate jet lag.
By artificial light, it's just Instagram Reels.
I think it was more of like they're in a big room and then they put like a light that then traveled across the ceiling.
I do feel a little bit like a pigeon if I've been on Reels for like more than 15 minutes. You're just there, you're just like a
Spinning the
bird
hamster wheel.
pecking. Yeah, just like. Oh, it's bad.
So they were artificially giving the pigeons jet lag. They were making it seem like it was a few hours earlier in the day or later in the day for their internal body clock.
Scientists just be doing shit.
They really do.
And then they went 30 miles away and released them to see what would happen. So I've got a graph here, or a picture, that shows the course of the pigeons. So
You can see this at Wild World of Sport.
graph.
So the blue line is the pigeons that were kept as the control group. And the red line is the pigeons that had the artificial light and had them bad. So you can see that at the start, the artificial light pigeons go the wrong way and they seem to get confused. So the researchers...
So yes, for anyone that's not on our socials right now or not watching on YouTube, where this photo will be, there's a blue line straight from point A to point B, and then a red line that goes off to the side, and then comes back, and then goes out, and then comes back,
little zigzag and
and then eventually finds its
yeah,
way.
about
You're
halfway
being too
through.
kind to them, James. Go to at Wild World of Sport Pod on Instagram, and you can look at the photo there.
And
So
TikTok.
the researchers determined that pigeons do in fact use the sun or a solar compass in part.
Yeah, and they can
In their way
quickly
of navigation.
readjust, I guess.
So then they thought, well, maybe it's their sight in general.
So they blinded a bunch of pigeons. These scientists, they better not have. Don't tell me that's what they did. I don't like birds, but let's not go
They
blinding
put
them.
little tiny pigeon blindfolds on them.
So, tracking a group of pigeons from different release points, they found that the pigeons would coalesce around certain landmarks. So they thought, oh, maybe they see these landmarks and use them
statues
as
and
their
stuff.
route. So,
So they're like humans. We just like remember things along the way.
yeah, it's like
Yeah.
we see the Belko owl. I go, I know where I am from this landmark. Or
Owl?
you go through,
It's an owl.
the Canberrans will know that it's not. So the researchers decided to put frosted glasses on half the birds.
How
which-
did they do this?
Which was just little glasses, like tape them on.
That's more ridiculous than my little blindfold idea.
Yeah, that's crazy.
They took them 30 miles away.
How long did it take them to do that? Like pigeon by pigeon. That's surely the grad student's job. Oh, I've always wanted to work in this laboratory. Well, what's the first thing you want me to do?
Grab
Yeah,
24 pigeons.
No, grab 24,000 pigeons and put these frosted glasses on them.
It would be interesting because I mean, like, don't want to question the science guy here, but it's like looking at the pathway of that experiment. You'd have to test multiple experiments, doing the same control, everything like you did in that one, and see where it lines up. But it's like when they recorrect themselves, are they noticing a landmark or something? That's
Well,
like,
these frosted goggles were like looking through one of those like warped bubble windows. Like you could see the rough colors in front of you, but you couldn't make anything out clearly.
Seems like it's
And-
going too far to remove the landmarks. Wouldn't it just be easier to just destroy the landmarks?
So how do you think what do you think happened? Do you think the pigeons got lost,
See,
succeeded?
I know pigeons are incredible, so I think they're going to somehow make it. But it doesn't make any sense, does it? Like, how
No.
could the pigeon, like, even like lining up, they could get the rough area right, but then it's like they must depend on sight. Like, it has to be that right. So it's like the frosted. Like, I would assume, like, yeah, they can probably make it most of the way there, and then they get confused and can't. Yeah.
So the pigeons fared better than the ones that were given artificial jet lag. The only problem was the final approach to the loft they really struggled with because their vision was so impaired. They knew where the loft was, they just couldn't get in.
Okay, so this is tracking with my theory.
So the researchers went, okay, so they use the sun to navigate, but they don't need good vision to navigate. Maybe it's something to do with magnetic fields.
All right.
I feel like
Your
they
next job-
almost even had enough evidence there. It's
Yeah.
like quite clearly like they use the sun to navigate. They can navigate quite well, but like then they need the fine details. They do need their vision to get into a freaking loft.
So we know that a compass will point to the magnetic north.
Mm-hmm.
Do
So
we?
the Earth's core
Insane clown posse. Fucking magnets. How do they work?
and the inside of the Earth is made of iron, which is metallic, and a ferrous metal, so it is magnetic. And as that moves around in the Earth's core and mantle and the inner parts, that generates magnetic fields around the Earth, which help protect us from all sorts of bad stuff.
This is like the plot of that, like it's like the Sharknado movie, but it's like birds.
The Birds,
It could be called The Birds.
like Hitchcock's one.
Maybe not. Maybe it is just Sharknado that I'm thinking of then.
I also watched Hitchcock, maybe a bit too young, so maybe that also plays into my phobia of birds. Which the actress in that, don't remember her name, but they just released Hitchcock released a bunch of live birds in for like one of the final scenes, and they just terrorized her. It's like it's real like terror and screams, and she was traumatized from it. It's awful.
And James was very clearly traumatized from it.
Yeah,
He's an empath.
birds are scary.
So
Yeah.
how do you test this magnetic theory?
You get the grad student to feed a bunch of pigeons magnets.
You're not that far off. So what they did is
no.
made a
Fed 'em
wooden
gallium.
tunnel, and here's a picture. So they put the pigeon in the middle, and there were some cloth barriers on either side, with 2 feeding platforms at either end. There were also 2 magnetic coils above and below. And what they would do is they would turn on the coil, and that would encourage the pigeon to go to one end and then get the food.
So the pigeons are attracted to the magnetic field somehow.
Somehow. So then that was the control group, and they decided, let's tape a magnet to their beak and see what happens. And the pigeons that had a magnet taped to them weren't as good at sensing the magnetic fields.
I was gonna say it's like this could be some like counter pigeon technology here. You just put magnets up around your site so the pigeons don't fly there because they're like, ugh. It's like repulsing the magnet thing. Just like
They next got anesthetics and injected it into the beak, and the pigeons again couldn't figure out the magnetic fields as well. So
maybe because they just had magnetic metals injected into their beak.
Yeah.
They got bigger
So
things to
it
worry
was
about.
supposed
What the hell?
that pigeons have a small amount of magnetite in their beaks, which acts
Well,
as
they
a
do now.
receptor to then sense these electromagnetic fields. A further researcher thought that the ability
We'll just cut off their beaks and see what happens.
to sense
Don't
and
tell me
understand...
I'm close with that one.
No, not super close.
Cut off that whole head.
A further researcher thought that the pigeon's ability to sense and understand magnetic fields wasn't as important as the pigeon's sense of smell. So in 2006, a study took 48 young homing pigeons and gave them all surgery. Half the birds had their olfactory nerve, which is responsible for your sense of smell, severed completely. The other half had their ophthalmic branch of their trigeminal nerve, which is responsible for their ability to sense magnetic fields.
Oh.
The birds were then released 30 miles from their loft. Within 24 hours, all but one, or 95.83% of the birds who couldn't sense magnetic fields, made it home. But only 4 with no sense of smell made it back, or 16.66% in that 24-hour period of time. So the sense of smell was more important than the magnetic fields.
This is screaming little bit of science collab.
Yeah. Get them on here.
Yeah.
Will and Rod.
So then,
We need your help. I need your help. I'm sitting at the back of the classroom, Will and Rod. I don't understand. We're going to invite them on for this next one.
more recently, a team in Italy mapped the volatile airborne organic compounds around a group of pigeons' loft. That included the smells emitted by trees, the sea, and industrial pollutants and commercial pollutants. They used a plane that flew at 500 feet, which is the average elevation of pigeon flight, and they constructed a map that reflected wind speed and direction to determine the individual pigeon's home's scent. John Hagstorm, a geophysicist, then decided to re-examine experiments conducted by Cornell biologist W.T. Keaton, who did these experiments between 1968 and 1987. Keaton, the original scientist, released a set of birds from 3 sites in upstate New York, with the distance of 44 to 88 miles from their loft. 2 of the sites the birds successfully would navigate home, but on one of the sites, called Jersey Hill, they failed over and over again. This is
So
what
it's
they
really
called
smelly.
release site bias. And this was the case except for one day during the testing.
When they shut off the sewage plant nearby.
So magnetic fields
When I stopped farting so bad. Oh, sorry.
and smells shouldn't change significantly enough from day to day to have an impact on that. So it must have been something else. So when Hagstrom re-examined, he hypothesized that it was actually the sound of an area
So
that a
it's
pigeon
just
could follow to
everything.
get home.
We've been through all the senses.
So Hagstrom built an acoustic map and used advanced computer software to reflect atmospheric conditions. He looked into infrasounds. Think infrared wavelengths, a type of light that human beings can't see. Infrasounds are sounds that we can't hear, that are low on the spectrum, so 20 hertz or less.
So not the other way, like a dog whistle where it's too
High.
high that we can't hear.
This is
Yeah.
too low. So these sounds are produced by tiny vibrations of the planet, on the planet's surface. They can be caused by construction, wind turbines, storms, and tectonic plate movements. And these waves, sound waves, can travel hundreds, if not thousands of miles.
So is this more animals than just pigeons can hear these things? And is that why there's a whole, like, animals sense when there's a tsunami or an earthquake or a natural disaster
Look-
because they can feel the plates shifting or they can hear them?
I'm a couple very alcoholic beers deep, but I'm going to add my scientific thoughts here.
Mhm.
I think as well, it's just how their minds are structured too. Because obviously humans can, process a lot of these senses and things as well. But our minds are so busy worrying about other social elements that we don't necessarily see those things. But, we actually have a lot of very useful, amazing senses. And animals do have these more powerful senses sometimes and unique and different senses. But I just feel like part of it's like psychology too, and like how they respond to the stimulus of the senses.
I guess it also would be like an evolutionary advantage. If you're grazing on the ground and then you feel a predator running towards you and the vibrations in the ground, you can develop that skill to then.
And that would
evade.
be passed through generations, yeah.
So pigeons can hear 0.05 hertz and up.
Damn.
So Hagstrom's model proved that the Jersey Hill site actually blocked the infrasounds from their loft. So they couldn't sense those sounds. And on the day that they did succeed, the atmospheric conditions that he was tracking meant that those sounds did travel to Jersey Hill. So his hypothesis, which is the leading one at the time, is that pigeons use hearing and their smell and magnetic fields and the sun all in combination to navigate to their home. They can do this over the course of about 1,200 kilometers. Anything more than a day's travel, and they can't really do it because they just go, get home, get home, get home, and don't think about, I'll break up the journey over a week.
Right. Go pigeons, I guess. I'm learning a lot about pigeons. Like,
Yeah.
I knew there was
I've
some
got a lot
story.
of wonderings about pigeons.
I
I'm
do
gonna go
have-
learn about pigeons after this.
I do have one big question.
Yes,
though, Ben.
please.
What sport are we ranking?
Pigeon racing.
Okay.
Because
this isn't like, yeah.
there's pigeon racers will tell you that there is no greater feeling in the world than the feeling when you're standing by the loft and you see your pigeon come home.
Yeah,
And to
that,
know-
considering there's so many that get lost, yeah.
And knowing how that happens, and also just the history of pigeons and how useful they've been in society. And now they're pests. In Australia, pigeons are considered pests.
I feel like I copped some flack last week for my story,
Yes.
and I'm feeling like this is a
Returning it.
similar realm. But this is all for the ranking.
Well-
I'm jumping the gun.
Armando, if we want to tie it back in,
Yes, I know.
was
Please,
such a
please do.
valuable pigeon. He's 500 times more valuable than other pigeons. And he broke the bank and the market for pigeons.
So, what do you want to put on the board here? Because this is all very fascinating. It's very interesting. And I've had a lot of fun learning it. Listener, I hope you're not here just for the sport. I hope you're here for the
pigeons.
Yeah, and for the scientific breakdown. Like, this is some interesting stuff that you can go and tell people about. But what are we putting on the board? What title? What's the like pigeon racing? Sure, but
Boil
is it
it down.
Armando?
One sentence.
Spark notes, as you like to say.
Well, in a single title, I'd say the science of pigeon racing. Like you're telling me that the way that pigeons do this and we've turned it into a sport isn't wild.
This is for the viewers to all debate at the end of the season. I'm just saying, one sentence. How a 1969 Socceroos witch doctor curse caused Italy to 4-time world champions Italy to not qualify for the World Cup 3 in a row. I don't know.
Here's another one. How a
a mouthful,
fart
but-
brought the darts world to its knees.
Anyway, okay. Let's jump.
Or
I think
how
it's time to
a
go to
man's
the ranking.
missed bowl. How a single pin saved a man from death.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break.
Yeah.
We'll come back and we'll settle down, and
Well-
then we'll simmer up, and we'll come to an answer for our scientific ranking.
Good idea. Don't go anywhere, listener, except to our social media where you can see the images that we've been talking about. Maybe that'll help sway your opinion of our ranking. And of course, you can let us know where you think this story ranks. And that's what we're going to do when we come back from a quick little break. Welcome back to Wild World of Sport. This is your first time pigeon racing with us. This is the part of the show where we rank the story we just heard on our Wild and Mild ranking board. It's very scientific, and it's starting to fill up for the season. We're over the halfway point this year. We've only got one, or is this suggested to you, Ben?
This was suggested to me.
So
Not
we've got-
this specifically, but pigeon racing in general.
Well, that's 2 episodes we've had suggested to us this season. Give us some more. Not that we're struggling or anything, but we want to know what you want. We
I'm
want to know.
struggling. Just in general. Can you reach out onto the
See,
on
what
the
you need
comments?
to be done is released and back to your home loft of to all my friends at cook shops.
It's true. And, I need the scientists to stop putting little cloudy glasses on me
And stop severing your
and
nerves.
stop severing my nerves. And,
That does happen to me when I go to Tamf, and I'm there with it's around like the 3rd drink mark. The little cloudy goggles get put
Yeah,
on.
and then they will go, I wonder how he's going to get home. Like,
Yeah.
it'll be interesting. We should give him more beers. Not that they would do that. They're very responsible.
No, and it's never in
Very
the car
responsible.
either.
Yeah, of course not.
Like we thanked last episode, the Uber
I
drivers.
fly
Thank you.
home, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, don't know how I got there. Oh, I'm there.
Yeah. I can do it at nighttime, daytime, doesn't matter.
Something else I don't know. Why more of you haven't given us 5 stars? Why more of you haven't left a review? Why more of you haven't told your friends and family to come and find us?
Yeah, leave us a 5-star review. Might read it out on the pod.
Every time you don't leave a 5-star review, it actually gives us a message. And I just want you to know that I'm not mad, but I am disappointed that, you just didn't have the time.
Send us a carrier pigeon.
Oh, yeah. First one to send us a carrier pigeon will get the tinfoil hat from last week's episode.
But for that to work, they'd need to leave it here for a month when it's born.
You can loft up with us.
We'll figure that
Is this
out.
the loft? We're in the loft right now.
Yeah, there's pigeonholes, like cubby holes.
Oh, yeah.
We're
Do
in
you
the
think
loft.
pigeonholes? That's what they're called for pigeons.
All right, that changes the dynamic
There's
of
the
this
whole
whole
system.
ranking. But seriously, all right, let's get to ranking this. We've written it on our little magnetic thing that we put on our board. Yes, there is a real board. You can see it watching on YouTube, the whole episode, or the image of it gets posted on our Instagram. Swipe all the way to the end. If you don't want a spoiler, don't go all the way to the end. Make sure you swipe that first one, and then you see a nice Simpsons meme that we make every week for every story.
Like a homing pigeon, you can home yourself onto our socials, and you'll find all the information there, and your feeding time of good posts and whatnot.
So we have called this episode "Pigeon Racing Has Science."
Call back to our Curling Has Rules. If you haven't checked that one out, please go and do. It's currently our lowest story. Now, I was questioning it towards the end of what's the sport? Interesting. I'm fascinated by the science of pigeons, but that's not necessarily the racing sort of stuff.
Yeah, I did have fun learning about everything. The crazy part is Armando just being pretty goated
Yeah.
or pigeoned at this, I guess.
It's sort
in
of
regard.
like
Also breaking the transfer record fee. That's
Yeah.
pretty pigeoned of him.
like it's reminding me hearing about like, fast twitch, slow twitch fibers and like why people are able to sprint really fast or why people are able to run long distances. That's really interesting, but like, okay, people do it and that's crazy, that's wild, but there needs to be something wilder within it. Like Armando, cool, broke the transfer record. That's pretty cool, but
I guess you'd say, how many sports do we have that are the homing of an incredible ability or talent that's universal outside of that sporting event? So you go, the development and the domestication of pigeons was then messaging for thousands of years to then be used in war and then to be brought back into a sport.
I feel like
Running.
that is
Running.
like the definition of sport.
yeah, running.
Like all the skills we use and everything.
Javelin.
Ultimately, I guess, like,
Hammer throw. That'd be
you could say useless. You could, in
swimming.
a lot of ways, they're useful. But then we just come up with these arbitrary sporting things to test it all out. I don't know. That's the
Curling's one
definition of
that we weren't doing curling
But
for survival.
I
That's
can
just for a
agree
laugh.
for javelin or discus, but then swimming, like what outside of swimming is the purpose of swimming?
But we swam. Like, well, think of like island nations.
Yeah, they boated.
Yeah, but they would have had to know how to swim. If you're going on a boat, you got to know what to do if you fall in the water.
Yeah, but then you say like sailing
Okay, all right.
is a crucial thing. But
Don't pick one apart. But like running, we had to run to one, catch our food or get away from our prey. And then we've turned that into a sport. We've turned that into like not all, but a lot of sports you have to run in it, and then running itself has so many different disciplines.
Okay, you take your horse in your horse race, you take it 100 kilometers away and say find your way back to your stable.
Yeah, okay. It's an incredible sport when you think about it because the science of it is fascinating. But like James is saying, I see where he's coming from here. It's like any sport when you think about the science of it. Like, we did this whole unit on MMA fighters in high school, and it was actually quite fascinating because like the conditioning they go through with their bodies and everything.
Yeah, I
they can
stub my
survive.
toe or like whack my shit on the table. I'm like, oh my God, that's so painful. They're getting just whacked there like constantly.
Yeah,
and
and
not
it
flinching.
should make them fall unconscious or die. Like a normal person would have that reaction, like you just shut down. But like no, they've conditioned their bodies. Like so, like there's this fascinating element to it. Does that mean that like that's a whole wild story in itself? Like it's wild, that's for sure.
I concede that the sport connection isn't that wild, but I just think for the pigeons as animals themselves have lived a wild existence to go from the most important animal up there to then
I'm not getting you
worthless
wrong. It was
in
an
the-
absolutely fascinating story. I just don't think it ranks that highly as
I
a
don't
wild
disagree.
It was a lot of fun.
story.
I think we haven't done it this season. And I know you said, Ben, I don't want to do it. But I am feeling, just based on the vibes of, like, had a lot of fun. It was a really fascinating story. But it really isn't that wild, putting it next to last week's Curse of the Azuri. Like, I'm getting similar vibes to that. Like, yes, I admit, Fartgate isn't that wild. I think this is above Fartgate because the
I think
science
it's
of
a
this is fascinating.
different realm of it though, because like the science of everything I talked about last week wasn't that interesting. I don't know.
But I don't know. I think it's the like two sides of the same coin. Like it's, I know they're not related stories at
I
all.
just
I'm
think
just
for
getting
the layman who doesn't do pigeon racing or knows anything about it, I think if you said a pigeon was sold for 1.25 million euros, most people go, that's ridiculous. They're everywhere.
yeah.
I'd put it
That
above
makes no sense
Fartgate.
because you wouldn't say that. You wouldn't say that for horses. You wouldn't be like, "Oh, a horse sold for 10 million." Yeah, horses are expensive
Yeah,
and they're valuable. Pigeon.
If we do the whole reset thing too, and I mean, I don't know if this is like a whole thing in itself, but it's like you tell the story of Neymar and him breaking the transfer record, and you could tell some interesting things on the side of that. You could talk about Neymar and his sister and his time off every time her birthday comes.
Yeah.
Like,
8 years
there's
in a row.
all
or something,
sorts of interesting things that could come into the whole story. But at the end of the day, it's like it's just a guy breaking the transfer record. Is it that interesting? It's just Armando breaking the transfer record. Is it that interesting? I don't know.
I guess
It is interesting.
to
Okay,
link
sorry.
It's wild.
Is it
To
a
link it
wild
back again,
one-centered sport?
pigeon racing has been
event.
a proper sport, at least in Belgium, since 1905 was national pigeon racing. So the CIA getting their pigeons to be spies would be from racing pigeon stock.
So this seems like it's
So
like,
then you have-
this is trying to like write on the test after the teacher's like, all right, time's up. Like
Oh,
we're in the ranking stage.
Yeah, but just making the connection to then go, okay, professional athletes then taken, and well, I guess every animal sport is eugenics.
I think
Like eugenicsing a...
I think it's a swing and a bit of a miss in the sense of what I did last week as well. I appreciate what you're trying, and I had lots of fun learning about pigeons. But yeah, I just think it doesn't rank highly as a wild sport story. I would rank it above Fartgate still.
Yes, agreed. Fascinating.
We
I don't
really
wanna take away
turned
the
you around on
fascinating.
Fartgate there.
Yeah.
I feel bad. You were passionate about those farts.
Well, we're just hearing so many wild stories.
I guess what can you do to really train your pigeon apart from just take it from different distances and make sure it's okay?
Yeah.
Like
Now,
it's an innate...
if
I think
we were
it's
Wild
funny.
World of Science, I'd rank this up there because they're doing some crazy stuff with pigeons.
It's funny this season where all three of us are coming to problems when we're making our stories. We're falling in love with the sport themselves and how wild and everything is surrounding it.
Well, when I was doing the research for
We
this,
lose
I
the thing.
looked up Armando and was like, oh, let me look into all his racing history. And then it was, there's so much stuff that pigeons have done. They worked for the CIA. 200,000 of them were used in the war by the British. That just seemed way more wild to me than, hey, they get 20,000 pigeons together, release them in one go, and they all fly somewhere.
But it isn't a sports story. What would be wild is if like the CIA was running a pigeon racing ring.
Yes.
Like,
yes. If that was
they
linked
would-
into it
yeah,
somehow as
They
well.
kind of
They were
were.
secretly-
They're spy drones. They got racing pigeons.
Yeah,
to
but
do it.
they undercover were running like New York Pigeon Marathon or something.
Yeah, I guess
And then like secretly they were delivering messages to
you know
Cuba
what?
or something.
Maybe when
during it.
there's the Freedom of Information request for Operation Takana, to then go, they got them from the Belgian CIA, bought all the racing pigeons and bred them themselves from the sport, and then they paid the Belgian Pigeon Racing Association to breed them amazing pigeons to use for espionage.
Armando was a spy.
We'll revisit it when
Allegedly.
the FOI comes out.
Okay, so where am I putting this on the board?
I'm sort of getting a little bit then pulled back of, like you say, all that CIA stuff. I'm like, I could go, talk me down from up here. I could go between, like, bang in the middle, Sweet Kiss of Death and Jamaican Bobsled. So it's literally, like, halfway up. But that's probably way too high.
Yeah, that seems too high for me. I was
I
thinking...
think above Azuri.
I was thinking
Yeah.
they're just here in this space above the
Yeah.
Curse of Azuri.
Yeah.
Because is it like the NRL Grand Final, like, while it might not have had as interesting pigeon facts littered throughout it,
Yeah.
as a sporting story,
It was a
was
lot
pretty
of sport.
wild.
Yeah.
It was all sport.
Very wild.
Because all the crazy stuff was, and look what they did with this sport and this sport and that sport.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
you're
I
right.
think, and it doesn't beat that.
I think I was just getting lost in the science there at the end when Ben's talking about the CIA. But-
Did someone put frosted glasses on you?
Yeah, they must have.
You couldn't find your way back into the loft.
No. Well, that's what's happened. Pigeon racing has science, has gone above last week's Curse of the Azuri. If you haven't listened to that, go check it out. And we've been talking smack about Fartgate, but it was a really fun episode. What we're learning is, even if they're not super wild, they're super fun to talk about. I'm having fun. I hope you guys are having fun. I hope you, listener, are having fun. We've said it once, we've said it again. Tampa's the best place to have fun.
And we hope that you learn something from these as well. We have fun telling the stories, but it's nice when you can learn something, a little fact,
And
or
you
a
know,
little piece of detail that you can then...
It's
show
not
someone
nice
else.
because I like to be right all the time. But it's nice when you comment and tell us we're wrong too, because, you know, we're all learning too.
Yeah, you might be a pigeon racer and you've got, you know, we've got some of this wrong. Ben's got some of this wrong. Carl
And you'll
and I
say,
just listening.
actually, it's their sense of taste that homes the pigeons.
That's the
the
one
most.
they didn't do.
Didn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got the better worms are over here, so they know. Whatever it is, I learnt a lot. I hope you learnt a lot, listener. Let us know if you did in a review that you leave us that also involves 5 stars. We'd really appreciate that if you haven't done it yet. If you have already, thank you. Your next step is to get a racing pigeon and have it be really good and call it Wild World of Sport. So the pigeon community goes, Wild World of Sport, why is a pigeon called that? They look it up and they find our podcast.
And if you do want to see some pigeon racing, there's going to be televised pigeon racing. It's going to be around 70 days from the time this airs. Around 70 days. The international one in Thailand. Get amongst
Does
it.
that mean
Keep
they
an
do
eye
have
out.
drone cameras chasing them? If it's
I think this one
otherwise?
they've like most of the data was like 2019 where they haven't done it. I'm sure they've gotten better. But
Yeah.
the press releases from the 2022 Thailand International was just the news, and it was just lists of hundreds of pigeons that said injured and recovered, recovered, safe, recovered.
finish.
It's like a team like at the back end of a NFL season of their like training list, and there's just like half the teams on injury.
Yeah, I just think imagine being like a owner of a horse and you send it out to race and you just go, it may not come back.
How's the horse going? I don't know.
That's what you risk with your racing pigeon.
Are you watching the race? It's like, it's too heavy to put cameras up to watch the race. So just, the horses will run.
Well, we'll be plugging that race on our socials, which is at Wild World of Sport, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. We hit a big milestone. Should have mentioned it last week. Sort of milestone. I don't know if anyone actually tracks this as a milestone, but we hit 1 million views on a video on each of those platforms, which I think is pretty cool.
Hooray.
I'll drink to that.
All of them are ones of Ben, funnily enough. A lot of comments on your Roughnecks jersey. Everyone loved the Roughnecks.
Go the Roughnecks.
Yeah. But that'll do us for this week. Thank you for enjoying this. Your support means a lot to us. Keep it going. Tell some people. 5 stars. Follow us. All that. Shout out to all of you enjoying it. I've been James Wybrow.
I've been the fancier for this episode. James' brother Ben. No relation.
I've been Carluccio.
Carluccio.
I just thought Armando had a cool name. I'm CPS 6'7".
I like the first one. We'll go with that. Well, thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Peace. Pigeons were used as the mail service
Whoa, I didn't know pigeons could do that.
until 1837.
Mail service.
Think about it.
I'm thinking about it.
MALE.
My package came in the mail.
I don't get it. Can you?
Mail service? Yeah, like servicing a mail.
I don't think
That's
it was
disgusting.
that good.
Yeah.
No wonder you don't like birds if that's your experience with them.